Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Ooh, ooh, it's Wednesday. Ooh, ooh. Oh, Lord. It feels so good to be here on a Wednesday. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. So that means that Friday is about a day away, right? Because we really don't count Thursdays. All right. So I hope you at least by right now, you're following us on Instagram at Mackenzie_blog. Because again, that is where we keep you guys updated when it comes to news like this. As you all know, we are talking about Lanithia leaks, and you guys could see on the title, we are kind of discussing about Nene Leaks and kind of what she's been saying on her Twitter and just all her social media platforms. Okay. So, all right. So, before we get into some things, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you already have not. And again, it just kind of helps us to grow. Okay. So, the reason why I kind of want to kind of have a discussion on this because like we've said, we've had previous videos and previous posts, and just in regards to Nene, we already know that Nene left the Real Housewives of Atlanta the last, I believe, 2 episodes ago, I believe. And, or was it just an episode ago, right? And, I think that since then, we've really have been seeing a different side of Nene. I'm not sure what's going on at this point, but her tweets and stuff has just really gotten some attention, and it just kind of warrants us to kind of discuss, what's really going on. So the main question is that we really want to answer tonight is Nene Leaks being blacklisted as she claims, right? Is she being blacklisted? Because as you guys can see from her tweets, her antiques, just the things that she would post, and then these random lives that she would do on Instagram and just different platforms, she would make it seem like, there's something going on. Because remember, she did accuse Bravo of various different things in regards to not being treated fairly, and, going onto her Instagram and posting support Black women, right? So, as I can recall, when I was watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, Nene had, I believe that she was one of the main, like the big girls there, right? Like she, and when Greg was there, RP Greg, Nene Leakes was like the real OG. She was real OG. I believe she had the money. Besides Kandi, she had the money. And I think from show to show that Nene, her attitude and everything kind of changed and kind of like switched off a little bit. And it just seemed like she could this is why I'm looking at it, and this is my opinion only. And it just seemed like she was just doing her, like, it's just like the show was about Nene. And it was just, if it's not my way, it's the highway. Like, you have to do it my way or the highway. And I felt like she was so closed off, right, that she didn't really get to like let anyone in. And that's just kind of that's how I'm seeing it. And to the point where when there will be conversations, that, the woman would want to include Nene, she would be so closed off that she would feel like people were coming after her, or she felt like, she was being attacked. And I didn't see it that way, because I felt like sometimes the ladies were genuine, right? They really wanted to include her in things. But just to overall say that I think that Nene Leakes really played a part in regards to where she is now, right? Like we said, Nene is currently filming, or if they're not finished filming, she is filming for the College Hill Celebrity, which is to appear on BET. And I haven't really seen Nene really post much of that, because I didn't expect her to be in this part of, like, to actually be a part of College Hill. And interesting because she doesn't post this. So I don't know if she feels like, she downgraded herself because now she's on College Hill. And, one part of me still thinks that she still wants to be a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because I feel like the tweets and these antiques that she's doing, she wants to probably get attention, and she wants to maybe have a conversation with someone. Maybe if it's Bravo, the executives, or maybe Andy, she wants to really sit down and have a conversation, because that leads to Carlos King's tweet today. And I know you guys know Carlos King. He's like a producer, and he's really involved in Real Housewives of Atlanta. He does a lot of the reality shows. So he said today, and let me just pull that up. Let's see here. And this is from Carlos King. He said that, Nene is one of the greatest housewives. That's according to Carlos King, because he was in his podcast and he said that, he believes that Nene Leakes was one of the greatest housewives ever. So again, like we said, Carlos does a lot of production, and then, he's involved in Real Housewives of Atlanta, Bravo and stuff. So he kind of has a backhand and that. So he knows a little bit. So this kind of, I don't know if I want to really go here, but I'm thinking that, maybe Nene does want to come back, but before she does that, maybe she wants to have that sit down conversation with Andy, because in that podcast, Carlos also said that maybe there could be a sit down conversation, and I'm thinking he was gearing towards Bravo and maybe Andy. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe in the future we are going to see maybe a conversation that Nene's going to have with Andy. But then again, I'm not too sure of that, because remember, guys, last year, sometime last year, Nene was really throwing some jabs at Bravo, and Andy basically saying that she was not being treated fairly, and she was just saying some comments in regards to how they were being treated and stuff. So I don't know if Andy will have that sit down conversation with Nene, because I think at that point it was a little too much, and I think she went a little too far. Okay, so that's just my own opinion. So, but then again, after seeing this tweet from Carlo, from his podcast, sorry, not his tweet, I'm starting to think, is there going to be maybe a sit down conversation where Nene lets let Andy have it? Her and Andy goes back and go back and forth and kind of like talk about this, because it seems like this is something Nene is passionate about. She's even on her Instagram, on her bio, she put Blacklisted. So if she's passionate really about this, I feel like Nene, put your phone down, stop being on Twitter, and really go face the person. If it's Andy, or if it's another lady, and one of your former cast members, who's doing this, call them out and say, hey, I want to have a conversation. I didn't appreciate how I was being treated on the show, and let's just have it, because now it just seems like she's been tweeting, and it's just been, she hasn't said any names, and at this point no one knows who she's talking about, and everyone's just telling her, stop, you blacklisted yourself, you made yourself who you are today because of your behavior. Okay, so let me just go ahead and pull up some of Nene Leakes' tweets, okay, that she posted yesterday. So Nene Leakes on her Twitter says, they always blacklist you when you tell the truth. And then she goes to say, stop harassing me, my business, and my family. Stop having me followed. Stop listing Black women for speaking the truth. Stop paying off attorneys to not file discrimination claims. Stop it. So who is Nene talking about? She didn't give any names. I think what is really annoying some people is that she tends to do this a lot. She goes on her Twitter, which she has a right to do, and she just tweets away, but she's just not giving us any, she's not really saying much. And it's like, if you want the problem to be resolved, or if you want a resolution to this, you have to be able to say this, this is who this person, this is who I'm having this issue with. And and just knock knock it off. And I think that's just kind of what prompted me to this live. I was just a little concerned. We've seen Nene Leakes on and off on Twitter, dishing her opinions on stuff. But I think that this really, Nene has got to put this phone down and really get down to business if she really wants to really make a change. Whether if it's the movement to support Black women, more on reality TV, or maybe in the Real Housewives of Atlanta, then so be it. I totally support that, but I think that she really has to really stop focusing on more so of just tweeting away, and really do some behind the scenes work. And not just behind the scenes, but also kind of do walk the walk. So if you're gonna tweet, you also need to walk the walk. Now, I don't know if she is doing some behind the scenes work, but this has been going on for some time. So I haven't really seen a difference at this point, nor a change. And that's kind of like where I'm coming down to this. I support the whole support Black women's movement. I'm definitely for it, but I definitely have to see some actions behind this. So now this prompted me to Kandi. Now, Kandi Burruss had an interview with the Jasmine brand, and let me just pull this up. Let's see. So yes, so I'm just gonna pull it up, and this is for, let me just say my copyright disclaimer. This is for research purpose only for research purposes only. All right. So so she had an interview with Jasmine Brand, and they asked Kandi Kandi some questions in regards to some of the shades been thrown between her and Nene. And Kandi said, "What is my show stopping you from doing? Stopping you from what is her show stopping you from doing?" Basically, I guess she was referencing Nene. So that's kind of where, I don't know if that prompted Nene to go on her and Twitter and respond. But that's just kind of where everyone is kind of getting at. Was she responding to Kandi? Is it Kandi, or is it Bravo? Like, who is Nene talking to? So so now there are some people who do support that, who support Nene, and then there's some people like, no, you brought this upon yourself, and this is just something that you did, and not necessarily anyone. All right. So at this point, right? So after Kandi, did this interview, Nene goes to respond to Kandi, and this is what she had to say. So this was on the bottom of the interview. Nene says, "I never talked about this girl's rating, because what's there to talk about?" So you guys see that? That's highlighted in yellow. So that's what Nene Leakes' response to Kandi was. So it's okay. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what are your thoughts on this? Is Nene responding to Kandi? Is that what she's talking about? That's harassing and do all these different things? Or is she talking about both Bravo, or, Andy and, Kandi? So what are some of your thoughts? What do you guys have to say about this? Are you guys for Nene? Are you guys for Kandi? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think that Nene brought this upon herself? And do you think that this could be, there could be a resolution to this? Like, how do you think this is going to play out? Because I think that, I'm not weighing anything out, but I think that there may be some, maybe there may be a conversation that may, her and Andy may have in the future, because I don't think that Nene is over Real Housewives yet. I don't think she is. I really think she holds that dear to her heart. So I think that she still is, she still wants to, continue, but she just doesn't know how to go about it. And that's maybe tweeting and, getting some attention could possibly lead her there. But I don't think that is the way to solve the issue. I don't think tweeting and, these outbursts and antiques on Twitter is really going to help this case. I think that whoever this person is, maybe there needs to be a one-on-one, sit down conversation that needs to be had. And again, I'm all for it, but I just don't think this is the way that this Nene should go about this. Because I know Nene. Nene's definitely great for TV, great for reality shows. She has that personality where that's just she can fit into just different crowds she can fit into. So that is where we're at with this. Oh, good evening. Good evening, Kathleen. Good evening. Hello, hello. Thank you. Okay, so let's read some comments here. Okay. So Nell Burfield said she made the show. Nell, you think Nene made the show? Okay, like I do kind of have to agree with you. And okay, so 50-50. I do think she did, like when the show first started, like a few seasons back when, when it was Lisa Wu, Sean Snow, like all of them. And, when Kim Zodiac was on there and just and Sheree Whitfield, when they were on there, I think that she definitely played a major role on the show. She definitely contributed. But then again, as the past few seasons, Nene kind of got carried away. So that's just kind of where my thoughts are, because I think what really got it was the whole closet situation, when that whole incident happened. I think that's where that kind of where Nene's issues, and then possibly when, what was going on with Greg. I also think that also contributed to that. But then again, I also feel like Nene doesn't like to open up. Like she doesn't like to, if there's an issue, she doesn't like to let the ladies in. Like it's always, she's so closed off, and maybe she feels like, she doesn't, she doesn't trust some of these ladies, or she feels like she has to have a guard over her. So that's just kind of like where I'm getting at with Nene. I think that's where she also fell off at. So, okay, so she started it. Yeah, she was part of the franchise that did start the show. So she wanted more money because she was the queen of the show. You think so? I mean, so you don't think that everyone else equally deserves some monetary benefits as well? And with Nene, because again, Nene, I think that right now, Kandi, I would say, is the highest paid Real Housewives. You guys can agree to disagree, but I think that she is the highest paid one on the show currently. Nene was, I think back then, again, when Nene started, I think she was definitely one of the highest paid ones on there. But I think with the last shows that she was on, I don't think she was. I think her, that status kind of went down. But so this is actually a good point, that you brought up, that you think she wanted more money. Do you think that is what, that was what her reason for, coming at Andy and Bravo? Do you think that's what was the reason? Because again, she's saying she's being listed, and then she's also, making some comments in regards to not being fairly. But then again, when she was on the show, I think that she was off one of the seasons, I believe, and then she came back, and she it seemed, now if I was going through something like this, I would speak up when it was happening, or maybe came out and said, there, some things that I don't like is going on, and I feel like we ladies, we deserve more, and more pay, or just more benefits to this. So that's just kind of how I'm looking at it. I feel like she should have spoke up. Now that she left the show, or whatever happened with her, she came out, and it just kind of made it seem like she was kind of backdooring the other ladies, like she was making it seem like, like basically making it seem like without her on the show, then the show wasn't anything. That's just how I was looking at it. Okay, so you think Kenny's very smart? She knows how to get money. Yes, Kenny's very detail, very business savvy. She knows how to make her money. If I was on the show, I will be more entwined with Candy, so she can give me some business tips, and just kind of like how to, like, market and stuff. And that's just that's every time I watch, I'm just like, I have to stick with Candy, because I know that, not everyone is going to be your friend there, but however, because Candy is really smart, I know she's going to give some great advice when it comes to business. I can definitely, go that way. So I think that's one, if I was on the show, that's one of the Real Housewives of ladies I would be definitely close to, is Candy. So I mean, so forget about, yes, friendships, but let's really, if we were to just be honest, like, we're there for, as women, as the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast members, I'm there for a reason. I'm there to, build relationships. At least that's how I'm looking at it. And hopefully, long time friendships. And when it comes to business, again, I would head towards Candy. Okay, so Nell also says she gave her whole life and real life to the show. Do you think so? You think she really gave her whole life to the show? Okay, but okay, that's actually an interesting statement that you made. But don't you also feel like she was also closed off to the other ladies, that she did not really want to, let others in, like when there was the therapy session with Dr. Jeff. I don't know if you guys remember that season. She literally walked off. She didn't want to have that therapy session. If it was about the other ladies, she was there, but when it's about her, she would walk off. She would get so, defensive, and it just kind of felt a little bit, she was so close in. And I kind of, that's kind of how I kind of saw where Nene was kind of, moving away from the show. It's like she didn't want to, she felt maybe like people were coming at her. She felt like attacked, I would say. Okay, so Nelson says that's how you have to play with production to get more money. Your name could become a brand. Hmm. So do you think that that's kind of like where Nene is kind of leading towards? Because don't forget that Nene is going to be on the College Hill. She's going to be a part of the cast for College Hill. So I mean, is this not a downgrade, from, what she was before, like her status in terms of reality TV? Now, I'm not saying that, there's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with people, maneuvering, getting their money and stuff. But I just felt like this is a downgrade for Nene. I really do see Nene having her own show, having her own reality maybe a talk show or something, hosting a talk show. But I didn't see her to just go down to being a part of College Hill. I don't see where that fits for her. So let's all think about the question that we need to address. So do you guys think that she is being listed, or do you think this is just she put this upon herself? And if it is, how can Nene, what are some, resolutions that Nene can do to really, take care of this issue, like fix this? Because tweeting is, I mean, it keeps you relevant, I would say, but it's not really doing much for those who really want to know what's going on with her. Because I've seen, I mean, she's, since last year, she's been, tweeting and tweeting, but she hasn't really said much. Like, she hasn't really said much. It's like she's tweeting, but she's not saying much. So it's like, is this like keep us guessing, or to keep her, still relevant? Like, what's really going on? What's really going on? Okay, so now I do agree that was her character, but I do feel like there was times when the ladies will have that, genuine, authentic, one-on-one conversation, or just like their powwows, and Nene would really be so like closed off. Like the relationship with Cynthia, it was a point where I felt that Cynthia was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm no longer going to you know, be your just kind of be your puppet. I need to just kind of like follow my own way. And I just feel like Nene also felt some way. I feel like Nene's always wanting people to um bow down to her, like she was the head in charge. But really, it's just her character was a little bit snobbish at times. And I felt like that's where Nene, that was a character flaw for her, because again, this, you're trying to especially with the therapy with Dr. Jeff. Again, I don't know if you guys remember that season. Nene literally walked away from the therapy session. All the ladies were there, and it was with Dr. Jeff, and Nene walked away. Why did she walk away from that? See, that's what I'm talking about. Where she would leave when there's trying to be like a resolution to different things. She will walk off rather than addressing it. She would walk off like it didn't even matter. Okay, so Okay, so Neil says making more money. She put a lot of work on Atlanta's Housewife. She did it all, but she can do it more. It's nothing wrong for asking for a little bit more. I agree. When you roof it, I agree with her. Okay, so you agree. Okay. But do you feel like that is the way, like in tweeting and saying you're being listed, do you feel like that is actually the way to resolve this issue if she really wants to be heard? Because I do think that she still wants to be back on the show. Trust me, I still feel like her heart is still there. But I don't know if, tweeting and, just not dropping names is really, going to really solve the issue. Yeah, so I think that there's a different way Nene could go about this. This tweeting and making these posts and saying she's being harassed, like that's not a way to really get people to really support you or rally behind you. So that's just kind of how I'm viewing that, because it kind of concerns me that she's been doing this since last year, after the new season premiere last year, yeah. She went on her Twitter, and she started tweeting, and nothing was resolved last year, and then we're back to this year, and it seems like the same antiques from last year is the same antiques this year. Again, she says, stop harassing me in my business, my family. Stop having me followed. Stop blacklisting women for speaking the truth. Stop paying off attorneys not to file discrimination claims. Okay, so the discrimination claims, I can say maybe she's talking about, the network, right? She's referring to the network. So that's kind of like where I'm picking this from the tweet. So I think she's referencing, that whole production and Andy and, the issue with Andy. So I think that's what that is. But I don't think that this all falls, I don't think this tweet is all towards the network. I think she's also maybe talking about others as well. Stop having me followed. And who is follow? See, she's saying who's following her. Like this, this is what kind of what I'm talking about. It's like there's nothing much being really said. Nothing much is really being said. So you can't really do much when you see tweets like this from her. So, but it's interesting that Carlos King again thinks she is one of the greatest housewives. It feels like he's putting in works for Nene. He's putting his so I wonder if Carlos King, since he does a reality TVs and somehow I think he has again some things to do with the show. I wonder if his opinion really matters. If Andy, they may consider like having maybe a conversation with Nene. Because again, he did mention on his podcast that, a one-on-one conversation, could do in regards to, possibly, having Nene back on the show. So I don't know. That's kind of like what I'm getting. That's kind of like what I'm getting. Okay, Nell says that's what sells the drama for the show. That's what makes the show. That's true. That's true. A lot of drama. Okay, that's true. But then it got to a point because like I said, Nene's definitely good for TV. She's that reality show stuff. She definitely has it in hand. But I think at some point that she had to stop having that closed off, care, like she doesn't want to open up, especially when there's genuine conversations being had with the lady amongst the ladies. It kind of makes you also back away as well. Like let's say in one of the past seasons, Kenya wanted to, have a authentic conversation with Nene and have that one-on-one heart to heart. And maybe Nene felt like, maybe it was Kenya coming at her, or maybe she felt like Kenya wasn't genuine. So that again, she would be closed off on that. So I think that Nene really, when it comes to like, trying to embrace ladies and engage with them, I think that in those past seasons, she didn't do so well on that. And I think that's kind of what played a role on where she's at today. Because trust me, Nene had what Nene used to do on that show. She she really went far in terms of her still, being on the show. And I honestly, I did not even see her. I was still expecting her to actually still be on the show and for her to walk away and, maybe start her own show. But interesting that, she went out this way. And, she's still tweeting about the show. So about the network. So I know it's interesting. I did not even think that Nene would, I feel like she would still be on the show till today. And speaking of reality shows, I definitely didn't think that she was going to be on College Hill as we speak, like, be one of the cast members for College Hill. So I don't know. And I think that Nene, I think that Nene has some money. I think that she's financially okay. So I don't know what the reason behind her being on College Hill or what that is all about. So, but all I can say is I do want to see Nene really, come out of her shell and address the situation and say these are the terms, whether if it's the network just give those terms and agree to those terms, whether or not if they agree to have that conversation with her. And I'm all for it. I'm all for Nene coming back on the show because again, she was great. Like she's great for reality shows, and she was great for the show. But again, I think that she needs to put the phone down and get to work. Yeah, get to work. But those are my thoughts. I mean, it's interesting that this is always on Twitter. And then with the Kandi situation, her response to Kandi. And so maybe that's who she's talking about when she says she's being asked. I mean, she's talking about, Kandi, like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? So I don't know. And then another thing is that, when some of these tweets, she's on Twitter and she's tweeting this, and, there's people who's like, what, you brought this upon yourself. And, she has supporters and she has her followers. And it seems like now they're turning on her and saying, well, you need to stop this. You need to, speak and let us know what's going on. So that's kind of where I'm at when I say that, she needs to, put her phone down, stop tweeting, and, make some moves. Because I'm all for supporting Black women, as she's stated on her Instagram for Black women. So I'm all for it, but I definitely want to see her really do walk the walk when it comes to this. When it really comes to this. So I don't know. Anyone, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Do you think that Nene brought this upon herself? Where it comes to where she's at today, like, what are your thoughts on this? And I also think at some point, right, like when it comes to there's have to be a stop where you say, okay, enough is enough. I have to evaluate myself and, what am I doing wrong? Because when Nene started off with these tweets, it was basically her claiming that, she was being treated fairly when it comes to Bravo. She was accusing Bravo of being discriminating. So the network of being, discriminating. So the way she went about it on Twitter I did not feel like that was the way to handle that situation. So I don't know, again, if a conversation is to be had. I don't know how, whether, the network will sit down and have her, because those were some serious accusations and claims for misleads. So yeah, but interesting. And I don't know, like, it's always seems like there's a dynamic between Kandi and Nene. Like there's like it's like there's a force between them. Like it's like they're fighting for something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Kandi wants to be, the the Real Housewives of Atlanta, like the OG of the Real Housewives of Atlanta now. And then Nene is like, no, I'm the original OG. Like, I don't know. It seems like there's a back and forth with those two. There's I don't know really how to put it, but there seems something going on between those two. Yeah. But that's all I have. I mean, I don't know. I think that we're gonna see more of this when it comes to these tweets from Nene. I think it hasn't stopped yet, but we'll see. Because she definitely did stop for some time tweeting, but then this resurfaced like a day ago. So this is where we're at with this. This is where we're at. So, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And how is and if Nene, like, are you all? Let's say Nene does have a conversation with the network. Do you guys still want to see her on the show? Do you think that she will, want to, will be back on the show? You think she'll take the offer if offer was given? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I already know that if they were to give her like an offer back on the show, she would come back. She would. She would. All right. So, okay. So I think we're going to close this out for tonight. We just kind of want to come on live and, kind of discuss that. It was just something that we felt like we had to touch base on. But before we do go, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you already have not, and I'll follow like button, subscribe button if you already have not, and follow us on Instagram at Mackenzie underscore blog, as you can see on the screen. And so we're gonna go ahead and say bye tonight. And hopefully we will keep you guys updated on this as much more happens. All right, so good night, everyone. Have a safe and great rest of the week. Bye.